Now we are recording.
Awesome. Well, I'm so excited to introduce my daughter, Noelle Pellicane. Noelle, how old are you?
I am 18 years old.
Wow, 18 years old. And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have an older brother and a younger sister. I'm happy in the middle.
Excellent. Now, question for you, Noelle. If I were going to introduce you with like music, like what song would I play? Come on.
What song would you play?
Or what song would you play?
What song would I play?
Yeah.
Um,
Got to give me quick.
I don't know. Okay, give me the Rocky theme song.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay, enough. All right, so you like to win. All I like to do is win. All right, Stuffy. By the way, Stuffy is the nickname, and sometimes it comes out. Okay, so and the reason why it started is because I asked my daughter many years ago. I said, what happened, sweetheart? What happened?"
I
said,
had just come back from hanging out with my friends, and you asked me, "What'd you guys talk about?" And I said, "Stuff." And you said, "What kind of stuff?" And so I said, "Stuffy stuff."
ever since then, she's been Stuffy. Okay. All righty. So we got my daughter Noelle. Now, Noelle,
Yes.
you're different. And it sounds crazy, but in a special way. Like things are different. Like when you look at your peers, when you look at yourself, like when you look at our family, what's made your trajectory different?
Well, aside from the being Christian thing,
Yeah, of course, that's relevant. Sure, of course, being a
uh,
Christian.
I would say the biggest difference would be my faith, and then secondly, our relationship with technology and just kind of how that shaped looking at time management and like things like that. So I feel like because you and mommy raised us in a very different way, we now have a different way of seeing the world.
Now, when you say now, this is a Christian dad podcast, so we're gonna throw all the dads under the bus. So, but no, of course you could throw me under the bus, but we could talk about we could spend this whole entire time talking about all the things I did wrong as a dad. What, we won't talk about those. But what are some of the things I did right?
Ooh. Okay, a few things you did right is that you didn't give us a phone, and you were very strong about it in the sense of we didn't even think to ask you or pester you about it because we knew the answer was always going to be no. So in that sense, I think you did a very good thing.
Now, go ahead. I feel like I interrupted you.
Another thing I think you did well is that you always made us do things that were slightly out of our comfort zone that you knew that we could do. So something like when we were smaller, and if we didn't want to like talk to a stranger or ask them for like help or something, you would make us go up to them and like talk to them. And I think that has actually been very helpful. And even now I can see like some of my friends, it's like they don't really want to talk to people and they're scared to have that interaction with a stranger. Whereas I think I'm more confident because of that, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense. Let's go back to number one and we'll hit number two. The phone thing. Did you feel like, oh my God, my dad, he's such a baddie. He's so nasty. Like,
I know he's so mean.
he's so mean. Like, how did that stunt your development?
Oh, stunt my I would say that, well, it definitely did not stunt my growth. It, if anything, did the exact opposite. And in terms of my feelings towards you about that, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there were definitely moments where I wanted a phone, but I think I understood conceptually, um, because you guys had explained it to me, and because it was such of a way that you guys lived also, is I could understand why I would not want a phone, and I could understand the benefits and the negatives of using that technology and not. And I think that is because you guys were able to model a life that used a minimal amount of technology and obviously still like thrive in whatever you were doing. So I feel like for me, I never really felt that like, "Oh, my dad won't let me have a phone. He's so mean to me." It's like, no, he's living a life where it's like he doesn't really need to use a phone super often and look at it. So why would I necessarily?
Now, what does your dad do for a living?
My dad is a real estate agent.
Oh, okay. Just okay.
And where you do use a phone quite often, but
I
it's for
do.
work. So
I
it's
do. I
different, you
do.
know?
And it sounds at the same time, it feels like you felt very important in that whole process of growing up.
I did, yeah. I feel like because you put your foot down, it actually showed me that you cared about me. You cared about me enough to not let me have something that would destroy my life. And you wouldn't acquiesce to my demands to give me something that would hurt me. So I feel like, if anything, the not giving me a smartphone showed more love than giving me a smartphone.
And you felt this way. Now you're 18-year-old right now,
Yes.
and a mature
Yes.
18 years old. You're a junior in college. But did you feel this way as a child, like elementary school, junior
I
high?
felt it. I think I began to feel this for sure a little bit in middle school, and then definitely a lot more strongly my junior and senior years of high school. I think is when I really started to realize it.
And what made you feel so strong about it?
Because I could see the impact that it had on my friends and a lot of people around me. I could see that they weren't happy with their smartphone use, and they would talk to me about it because they knew that I didn't have a phone. I love to see people's reactions in high school when I would tell them that I didn't have a phone. I thought it was like the most hilarious thing ever. Um, but I could see a bunch of my peers who would tell me things like, "Oh yeah, I really need to stop like scrolling on social media," or like, "I spend X amount of hours a day on my phone." And they weren't happy about it. And yet they were too stuck in the cycle to like get out of it. Like they were too deep in, and it was too like ingrained in their brains that they would have a really hard time quitting. And so like, if you see enough of that, you kind of realize like, "Oh, this is not what I want."
Hmm. Hmm. You had a friend that shared something interesting with you about being envious of you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was in middle school, and that was the first
Middle
time I was
school.
really like, wow, yeah. She was a mature middle schooler.
And what did she say?
But she basically told me one day as we were walking, she knew that I didn't have a phone, and she told me that she was very envious of me because I didn't have a phone, and because she just felt like all of her time was being sucked away and drained by hers. And I just thought like, wow, like that's cool that she would be able to say that. And then that's also cool for me that like I got to experience life without a phone.
Awesome. Let's break it up into two groups: elementary school and then junior high and high school. Okay. And we're talking to the dads here. Number one, let's go to elementary school. What should the dad's resolve be regarding his kids and technology use?
I think in elementary school, it's going to be a lot more important to be very strong and firm because, well, number one, those, if in terms of your child's development, like those are the most important years. And that is when really all the boundary and the rules are going to get set. And it's much easier to set a hard boundary now and then relax it in the future than setting a very lax boundary now and then having to harden it in the future. So I think in elementary school, it's really, I mean, it's going to completely change the trajectory of your kid's life if you are very firm about not giving your child a phone or a tablet for them to be on. If you instead make them do things like reading or even letting them be bored, I feel like is will be that will change their life in terms of how you let them grow up in that.
Hmm. And just a question along those lines, like, how did you function? How did you were on the tennis team, you're on a bunch of other,
Uh,
how did you like communicate and talk to people? How did
yeah.
that work?
Well, I find it very funny actually. If you're a parent listening to this, and because I know a lot of parents feel like they need their phone to they need their child to have a phone because they really want to communicate with them and like be in touch with them in that sense. Like if anything happens to your child or something like that. But like people operated without phones for like the majority of history. Like phones are a very relatively new thing in terms of like historically speaking. I know. So, like, people have functioned without them for a very long time.
So how did you function
And
without it?
so, how I functioned, obviously, things would need to be a little bit more like communication needed to be more clear and intentional, like beforehand. Like, obviously, you can't be like, oh, mom, can you pick me up here in this different place that we didn't specify previously? So, it was just like probably more communication to avoid like that sort of thing. If I wanted to hang out with my friends, I would just use my mom's phone and talk to them. And yeah, like that's not cool, obviously, if you have to have your friends text your mom to go hang out. But it's like that was like a very minor bad thing for in my eyes. I was like, like whatever, that's totally fine.
But you did have some technology. You did have a Google
Yeah,
Voice
yeah.
account, right?
I did. So I had a Google Voice number. So that was like my own phone number where I could text my friends and you could just use that on a computer, on a
On a
laptop.
computer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then later on in life, when she did get her cell phone, you got her cell phone when you were in high school, senior in high school?
Yes, a month before I graduated.
Got it. And then I remember us having the conversation about, you putting social as you could do anything you want. I can't stop you.
Yeah.
So, and I totally gave you do whatever you want, but I encouraged you, if you remember about using social media, what did I tell you?
Um, well, you told me that I definitely like I if I could, like if I wanted to, I could. Um, and then I made the decision that I did not want to have social media at least for the first few months of having a phone
And
because
then I
I
encouraged you to put it on a computer, not on
Oh,
your
yes, yes,
phone.
yes.
That's a big difference of having that temptation in your pocket versus actually going to a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk specifically to the dad. Number one, the dad in elementary school needs to be resolved, right?
Yes. Absolutely.
100% resolved. For
Yes.
us, there wasn't even a point of asking because you knew the answer was no.
Exactly. That's the kind of resolve you need to have that your kid won't even bother you about it anymore.
Got it.
And
Got it.
I'm sure it will be hard like for the first few weeks, maybe even months. But eventually they'll get the memo.
Got it. Let's assume the dad's let the cat out of the bag.
Mm,
And the in the elementary school still. Now we're in elementary school. We're going to go to high
yeah.
school in just a second. And I don't want this whole conversation to be about tech, but anyway, what should the dad do? The cat's out of the bag. It's running amok.
Yeah. Well,
What parameters? What should happen?
that's going to be harder for sure, but it's definitely not too late at that point. What should happen at that point is I think you should just let the kid go cold turkey
Cold
and
turkey.
just take away everything. First of all, explain to your kid. They're still in elementary school, so they might not understand everything right now. But explain to your kid like, "I'm sorry, I gave you this technology, but I realized I made a mistake, and this is just you just can't handle this right now. This is just not for you right now at the stage of your life." And then you take it away from them and they're going to kick and scream for probably a very long time and it's going to be extremely unpleasant. um but then uh maybe you look back a year from then and you realize like, wow, if I had not done that, you have no idea where your child could be if you had let them continue on this way of abusing technology.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, let's go to high school. What
Mhm.
should the resolve of the parent, the dad? I'm not talking about the mom, right? I'm talking to the dad. What should the resolve of the dad be regarding technology and their kids?
Yeah. I think a big thing is just like you need to protect your kids as a dad. And I feel like one of the biggest misconceptions that you can have is that because your child is quote unquote safe in their room, that they are safe. Because that is one of the biggest lies. Um, the stuff that happens online and through social media is absolutely insane and disgusting and it's absolutely horrible and perverted. And honestly, your kids would be much safer playing outside on the streets with moving cars than they probably would be inside their room on TikTok scrolling all day. And that is just the reality of the situation that I feel like a lot of people do not grasp. So as a father, I think you really need to be aware, especially if you do have a daughter, because the lies and the mentality of comparison that will come through social media. Not even talking about the like the sexual predators who are online, which is a very real thing. But even minusing that out from the equation, the the ideology and the way that social media is reshaping your child's mind to think about themselves and about the world is extremely dangerous. So I feel like as a father, you really need to step up and protect your kids from that.
Okay, but let's assume it's all innocent. Let's just all like, how are they going to function? How are they going to be like a part of the tennis team? How are they going to be a part of
Yeah.
the cheer team, the volleyball team? They need to connect. How are they going to
Yeah.
do this?
Without social media?
Yeah, they're going to be like feel so isolated. Like the whole team uses Instagram and
Yeah, so in that
Facebook to
sense,
connect.
in that sense, I think you need to like your kids need to be confident enough to know that their self-worth does not come from whether or not they have a phone or social media. And if your kids are confident in knowing that, then it really doesn't matter if you have social media or not to connect with your friends. Like, and if your friends are good friends, they will respect you for the fact that you do not have social media. And they will not push you or force you to do something that you do not want to do. And in that sense, I feel like if you do feel like your child maybe like is using that as an excuse, like, oh, I won't have any friends if I don't have social media. Having Giving your child social media is not going to help with that problem. If your child feels lonely without social media, I almost guarantee you if you give them social media, that's not going to fix their loneliness problem. That's going to make it worse. Like there's a reason the loneliness that we're having a loneliness epidemic in our generation right now, and it's because mainly a big reason of that is because of social media. So thinking that because you're getting social media is
Got it.
ironic.
Genius. Is absolute genius. Ninth grader girl, 10th grade girl. She is totally going sideways, sucked down the rabbit hole. Not really into bad stuff, but she's just
Mhm.
TikToking, Facebooking, Instagram, YouTubing, the whole thing, right?
Sure,
And
sure.
it's too much. It's
Yeah,
too much, and the child's going sideways.
yeah,
What should the dad's response be?
yeah. Well, firstly, you need to have a conversation in love because especially if it's your daughter, I mean, what she's craving is attention, and she just wants to feel valued and valuable, and she's just looking for that in the wrong places. So I think first of all, realizing that fact is going to be supremely important in how you address this issue. So realizing that like she wants to have your approval, and she wants to have maybe the approval of others, and it's just coming out in the wrong way, and it's being very destructive. So addressing the situation in that way and in that perspective, and then just listening to her and to what she has to say and how she's feeling and why she wants to do these sorts of things, and asking meaningful questions that will kind of get that out of her. I feel like that is a very important place to start. And then once you have established that, and once she knows that you're coming from a place of love, that's when you can be very firm now that you've established that you're coming in love, and you can be firm in telling, okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is why we're doing it. And then once you set that boundary line, you can't go back on it. You have to be very firm. If it's something like, okay, we're going to take your phone away at night, or you're going to uninstall whatever app, or you won't be able to use your phone at school, something like that. I don't know. But then once you establish that boundary, then you have to be very firm on it and not kind of go back on it.
You read the book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and he
Yes.
talks about goals versus systems. How does that kind of fit into this conversation of boundaries with the cell phone?
Um okay, so basically like the whole idea of if you set a goal, like it's really the system that you need to put in place. Okay, so this is a really good idea. So basically, if your goal is like say we don't even have to do technology related, but like I want to lose 5 pounds or whatever. And then that's just a goal. Like that's just out there. And you're just like, well, how the heck am I going to do that? But then if you create a system and instead you're like, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out 3 days a week. I have this scheduled, boom, boom, boom. I'm going to meal prep at the beginning of every week, and this is what I'm going to eat. That is a system that you're putting in, and through the system, you will achieve that goal. So as we relate this back to technology, if you have a goal of like, I want my child to be more confident in who they are and more social, more comfortable with social interaction or whatever, less addicted to their phone. That's just a goal out there. But then you're like, well, how am I actually supposed to achieve that? And that's when the systems come in. So things like don't charge your phone in your bedroom, or after a certain after like 8 o'clock at night, you have to put your phone away. Like something like a system, and that is what's going to help you to achieve your goal is by establishing and setting up a system.
Got it. And if there's consequences of breaking that, you already have a system, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. You have
Yes.
a system.
Yeah.
The whole issue is what are
Is it
you
a
doing
good
with that
system?
system? How can you reinforce that system? Because
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer people don't see the light until they feel the heat. So it's just it's not in the Bible, but it should be. Okay, I want to go back to what I was doing well. Number one thing you said is we introduced technology in an appropriate way, and the
Yes.
second thing you said is that I forced you to have conversations. That sounds so mean. Goodness gracious me. What kind of dad am I?
Oh, I
And
know.
what did I do? Goodness
Ruthless.
gracious.
What did you do? Okay. I remember I remember this one time we were at Costco, and because we were in a dual immersion school, so we were learning Spanish, and I was pretty little, but you every time you would hear somebody like speaking Spanish, you'd be like, "Oh, like talk to my child." You'd be like, "Child of mine, speak to this person in Spanish." And I strongly disliked when you would do this. Um but so I vividly remember that, and I vividly remember having to have the awkward conversation like, "Oh, like ¿cómo estás? ¿Tienes una familia?" Like asking these like questions in Spanish just to practice. Um but then I guess I kind of realized the fruits of this starting honestly when I was in like a senior in high school, and when I would have like some of my friends who like wouldn't want to go like after class to talk to their teacher if they had like a problem with like their grade or whatever. They'd be like, "Oh, like I'll just email them." I'm like, "You could just go up and like talk to them at the end of class." Um and then I was like, "Oh wow, I feel like I have that mentality because of what my dad has made me do."
Mm, mm.
So,
That's funny. Was there any
yeah.
other story? I can think of a story. Any other stories that come to your mind?
Um, there was one time at Las Americas,
Oh
the
boy,
mall. Do you remember this?
I totally forgot.
Okay, okay. But we were at the Nike store, and I really wanted this pair of shoes, and we had waited in line, and we were up at the cashier, and you told me to speak Spanish to this guy, and I did not want to speak Spanish to this guy, and I didn't say anything. I was like, I was little. I was like, no, I don't want to, and you're like, okay, and so we just walked out the store without buying the shoes.
Your dad is so mean. Was there any drama there, or did we just walk out of the store?
There was a little bit of drama, I think.
Oh, okay.
I don't really remember all the details,
That's one of my
but
axioms. The dad is
yeah,
any behavior you don't like, make sure it's really counterproductive.
yeah. There you
Yeah,
have
yeah.
it.
So forcing you to communicate. I remember one time we were at, I don't know where we were, like McDonald's, or we were at some fast food restaurant. And I remember telling you, if the wait, you remember this?
Oh yeah, yeah. If the waiter has to ask you, or the server has to ask you, like, can you repeat that, or like has to ask you again what you said, it's like you wouldn't get anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I said, basically, I said, I will order for you and you will not like it.
You-
Because she was like, she always talked like so timid. And you could barely hear what she would say. So anyway, so we fixed that. We fixed that. We fixed that, didn't we? And,
Yeah, good job, Daddy.
and this is also really interesting too. Dads, I've seen this to happen many times with their moms, where I've seen this happen like all the time, is where an adult will ask a child a question and the mom is like a ventriloquist. She'll answer the question for the kid.
Mhm.
And it goes back and forth. It's like, no, I didn't. I mean, and that's a conversation I needed to have with my wife saying, sweetheart, I mean, in love, not at the moment, of course, after the
Yeah.
fact, in
Yes.
private, saying, sweetheart, I feel like you're like stepping on the conversation. Like, I'm asking the kids and you're responding for them.
Mhm.
Please give me some space. So, okay. What are the things I do well? So, tech, conversations. Any other thoughts on conversations?
Mm, nope, I don't know.
Okay.
Right not right now.
Um,
Nothing.
any other thing I did well? Just those two?
Just
I want
those
this to be all about me.
2. Um, let's see. Another thing you did well. Um, I think you were very good at leading by example in the sense of um just my personality. I feel like I'm a bit more of like a people pleaser. I want people to feel more comfortable. Whereas something that I learned from you is that sometimes you need to be able to, if there's a problem, you address it very quickly. And I feel like that's something that I admire about you, especially in your profession. I'm sure it's very necessary. But it's being able to see you like as soon as you get like a call or something for something that needs to be done, it's like the very next second you're on top of that, you're doing it, you're getting it done. It doesn't matter who you have to talk to or call up. It's like you just do it. So I feel like seeing you be able to do that is like, oh, like that's how I would like to operate in that way.
You know, it's really fascinating to me as a dad, and I'm still baffled by it. Like my reality has not been other dads' realities. For example,
Mhm.
have I did I ask you or pester you to do your homework?
Never.
Never. Like,
Yeah, not really.
did I pester Ethan or Lucy to do their homework?
No, none of us.
Like, this is not a reality of many dads. How did that happen?
Well, I'm sure it's a combination of things, but something that I can think of is I think you raised us in a way where we wanted to do our best and excel, and it didn't necessarily matter what that was in. So we had 4 rules in our house. It was do what was right, do what was best, do unto others, and smile. And so when it came to schoolwork,
And by the way, that's Rob's, right? Others
others
best
best
smile.
smile. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So when it came to schoolwork, and I also think that you had communicated in a way where we understood why we needed to do the schoolwork. And um because of that, it just you didn't need to pester us because we knew like I'm just gonna submit this work. I don't want to fail any of my classes because if I fail my classes, that means I have to redo them and that means more school and I don't want to do more school. So I would just do my homework. And
Interesting.
that was the end of that.
You know, I'm having a flashback. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember on countless occasions when I would discipline you, I would always discipline you with the Robs in mind. Like you didn't do unto others, or you didn't
Mhm.
do what was right, or you didn't smile. You didn't
Mhm.
make that person feel welcomed. And I would remind you. And when I would reward you, I would do
Mhm.
the same thing. Wow, that was really, really kind. That was an amazing others event that you just did. That was so gracious.
Mhm.
So I would reward you with that. Wow, you did what was right. You did your best.
Yeah.
And I did this. I mean, we did this right, like from the womb. We just
Yeah,
kept
yeah.
on with
You
these
had a
core
game plan.
values: do what's right, do unto others, do what's best, do what's smile. And that seems like that kind of permeated as you went through elementary school and then high school.
Yeah, I think so, even at, like, a subconscious level.
Hmm.
So, for sure.
Now, there was a time in second grade where I definitely put the heat on in terms of um, your academics, if you will, um,
Mhm.
with Ewing Academy.
Oh, yeah, 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 of course.
Yeah. So, um, but what
Oh,
was that?
that's another thing I would like to say. Um, because as a dad, I feel like this was very good of you. You didn't leave our education just to the school system. If you saw something that you didn't like, or you felt like there was more that we could do and there was more that we could accomplish, which I think you did see. And because you felt like the school system wasn't getting out of us the best that it could, you saw the need to take things into your own hands. And so we did do Ewing Academy, which is the street we live on. So I think every major break, like winter break, summer break, and even on the weekends, we would be reading these nonfiction educational books in Spanish. We'd be creating vocabulary cards of words we did not know in Spanish, and we would be quizzed on them. And I will not lie, and I will say I did not like this when I was in elementary school. No, of course I did not like this. But at the same time now, as I'm looking back, I can see, and I really, really admire the fact that as a father, you wanted us to be better than we were, and you were not content in letting us just stay average. And I am very, very appreciative as to that. And if you are a father, I would say to you, if you feel like the education system or any other system is not doing your child justice, and if you feel like your child can achieve more than they currently are, it is your job to push them. And of course, um in a bad way, but in a loving way.
Got it. Got it. And did I do this? Did I do this to make me look better? Like, why did I do this? What was this all about?
No, you did it because you truly cared about us, and you wanted us to grow into the people that you knew that we could, into the people we could become.
Did I put a lot of pressure on you to get A's and be on the honor
No,
roll?
not at all. You
Because
just put pressure on us to do our best.
okay,
And if we did our best, that was enough.
got it, got it. Okay, okay. Um, I'm going to say this. I think I did a really good job as a dad
Ooh.
at having fun, having like skiing, hiking,
It was
mountain
mandatory
biking,
fun.
rowing at early in the morning,
Oh,
like
that was fun.
lots of activities that ultimate frisbee, lots of activities that
Oh
I
man.
love. How did this? How did this like? Was this a
Okay,
part of
this
like
is funny, I think. Because a lot of times your definition of fun was not necessarily my definition of fun.
100%, 100%?
Oh man. I probably most of the time actually.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
But so yeah, we did do a lot as a family. Um a lot of athletic things, which I mean there's still times that I'm like, no, I really don't want to do that, Dad. But we definitely made a lot of memories.
We made
I'll
a
say
lot of
that. The
memories.
memories were definitely made. And I was not, I mean, there were things to do around the house, even though we didn't have smartphones or a tablet. Like, we had things to do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So,
mm-hmm. We had I think it's really important. Like even the hikes that we took, you didn't. None of the kids wanted to do them, and they
no, we
all
did
thought
not.
I was crazy.
No.
And they had 30, 40 pounds on their back walking up a hill. And I
Yeah,
remember one
backpacking.
time we
That
went
was
to
fun.
the goal was to go to Thousand Island Lake, and we did
We made
Tuolumne
it like
River.
halfway.
I left at like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you doing up
uh,
so early, Dad?
hmm
And then but with that, I think they were good. I think they were, I mean, it wasn't fun in the time, but I think looking back in hindsight, I think it's sweet.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Because I think another thing is if you don't give your kids a smartphone or a tablet or whatever,
Yeah.
like give them something. Like
Yes.
in the sense of like you still have to be proactive and like you did, like we all rollerbladed a lot as a family. So it's like that was something really fun. Like, and it's pretty easy. You just go out on your street and you rollerblade around.
And I read it rollerbladed with you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And then so like things like that, like biking, we did that. We a lot of athletic things. So it's like you didn't just give us nothing. It's like there were family activities that were there in place instead of the phones and the smartphones.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know, as I muse as a father, it's amazing to me how short time is.
Mhm.
And I think most parents, even people who aren't parents, they're like, oh my goodness, parenting. And they only look at like the first 18, 20 years. They
Mhm.
don't realize that they're going to enjoy their kids for their entire lifetime. Like you're almost an adult,
Yeah.
even at 18, you are the way you act. But we have an additional, goodness gracious, I'm in my 50s. I got another 40 years
This is true.
to enjoy. I don't think people really fast. I don't think they play the movie. Parents don't play the movie and realize they only have 18 summers to have with their kids and to really maximize those summers and maximize those events, maximize, I guess, the technology, the conversations. What was the third point that we talked about?
Um, like being or like being doing things quickly, I guess. I don't know.
What did we talk about? What was the third point? I can't remember.
It was about like how you would if you had like a problem or something, you would directly address the issue like immediately
Got it.
kind of
Got it.
thing.
Got it. Got it. Got it. And we talked about that. That was the problem. And there was another point that was right there with that. Um, I just said it. I guess it doesn't matter. Um, Tech conversations. Um, it wasn't fun. It was it was the Robs. It was the Robs.
Oh, okay.
Living life around the core values. Okay, so there were basically four things that I did well as a dad.
Yeah.
Technology use,
Only 4.
only four.
No,
Okay.
only 4. Yeah. Sorry
Technology
about
use, forcing you to
that.
have conversations, really instilling core values in you at a young age that blossom, being really involved, and then lastly, I'm going to throw this one in there
Oh boy.
is the fun component. Come on, give me some love. Your dad is so cool.
Uh-huh. You like to think so, I think.
You're very fun. Any last thoughts or encouragement that you have
Uh,
for dads?
yeah, I would say for sure if you have smaller children, like now is the time. Where it's like you really set the ground rules now. And then I mean you do have fun with your kids. Like parenting is supposed to not just be all, you know, sad and depressing. But like yeah, I really liked your point of like your kids are people that are going to be around for a very long time with you. So raise kids that you would want to hang out with when they're adults. And I think that doesn't look like giving your kids whatever they want. It means being strong and standing up to your kids when they're doing something that's going to harm them in the future. And that is truly the best way that you can love your children. So, yeah.
Noelle, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All righty. I guess you hit the end button.
All right. Stop.